Again.
First of all, congratulations, Jason, and
Thank you, Ann.
tell us after 6 rounds of voting and the committee having to come together, what are your plans from now here on out to bring the Republican Party together in the 8th Congressional District?
Aaron, thank you very much. I'm going to hit the ground running. You know, this party is full of conservatives, and this is a very, very strong district that is based in agriculture. And we're going to go all across all 30 counties and bringing everyone together and sending the message that we're tired of the reckless spending in Washington, D.C., that we want them to pass a budget and to balance the budget and cut the over $1.5 trillion of debt that we're spending, more than what we're bringing in. We want to reform regulations. We want to reform welfare. We want to just get government off our backs. That's the message we're going to be bringing across the 8th Congressional District.
Representative, what is your strategy to try to limit the number of independent candidates from the conservative side for the June election?
Scott, the only thing I'm focused on is making sure that this district is elected by a conservative, and I'm the conservative candidate thanks to the nomination of the Republican Party here, and we will win in June.
Being from Denton County, the candidates, the last 3 candidates we were going up against were from bigger counties. What does it say to you that you were elected the nominee from the Republican Party?
This district is made up of 30 counties from every corner, whether it's the Cotton Hills and the Boot Hill or Norfolk Lake and Ozark County to the Vineyards in Phelps County. We're all part of the 8th Congressional District. It doesn't matter where you're located, just as long as you represent the values and the beliefs for this area, and that's what I'm going to do. That's what my message has been, and I believe that's why we were victorious.
Jason, how did this process of going and talking with the committee members in all 30 counties of this district, how is that going to prepare you for the general special election that's coming up later this year?
I think it's a great asset. I have foot soldiers now in every one of the 30 counties. I have some very good friends who can be my ears and eyes on the ground and making sure whether I need to be at an event in Cape Girardeau or an event in Pemiscot County or an event in Texas County. I already have the groundwork laid, and that's why we're going to hit the ground running starting right after this press conference.
Jason, congratulations. Stuart, KJUP News of Festus, Jefferson County. You mentioned earlier that you had driven all over this area in this district, 10,000 miles, probably not even a third of the mileage to get to Washington, D.C., so I want to commend you on that. But I did want to ask an important question between state government and federal government. There's a big disconnect there, it seems, at times, when it comes to people getting their questions answered and things of that nature. What are some of the things that you've learned at the state level that you can take to the federal level?
The best thing is that the state can do it much better than the federal government. We need to look at it from the fact that government that's closest to the people is the right government, and we need to start removing the power that all these federal congressmen and senators have and giving it back to the people where it belongs.
Sir, do you anticipate having a challenge from somebody in this room today that wasn't successful as a candidate?
Absolutely not. As you know, that it was a unanimous decision to elect the nominee, and I'm pleased to be the nominee. And all the other fine individuals that was in the race definitely added to the direction that we need to go as a party, and that is fiscal conservatism, limited government, and personal freedom.
Mr. Smith, do you plan on reaching out to Representative Emerson and learning what she learned and her husband learned over her years and his years?
I think you got to reach out to everyone. Anyone that you can learn any knowledge from. And the Emerson family knows this district better than the most. I mean, this was a district in the 1980s when it was started that was a Democrat district. It no longer is a Democrat district. This is a conservative Republican district. But I'm going to take that advice from everyone, other leaders in our party, and every individual across this district and across the state.
In interviews, you've said you're much more conservative than current House leadership. Now that you're the nominee, certainly they'll reach out to you. first question is, how do you view those conversations, the tenor of those, seeing as you are more conservative? And secondly, do you intend to seek the nomination of the former Congresswoman Joanne Emerson? Or the endorsement, I should say.
I'm not going to refuse the endorsement of anyone. I want to try to be inclusive and bring in everyone. We need to unite as a party. That was my message, going around and talking to all the committee folks. The 86 committee members that vetted each one of us were all totally different, and they had different views. We had the liberty-minded Republicans, we had the Tea Party Republicans, we had the moderate Republicans, and these folks chose the candidate today, and we all need to work together. So I'll take the endorsement of anyone that will help me, as long as it's not the animal rights activist groups. I won't take that. But I do say that that we're definitely going in the right direction. What was the other part of your question?
Do you expect to have a good relationship with the Speaker, who you are much more conservative than?
Absolutely. And I've said this talking to the committee members. I'm definitely more conservative than Speaker Boehner. But you know what? You can still work with him. And I want to be able to use my relationship and to explain policy that I think that can make Southeast Missouri and the United States a much better place for us to live, work, and raise a family. And I think just fiscal responsibility, reforming the welfare benefits, and putting a moratorium on regulations. This is a good way to get our country back on track. And I think that those messages, Speaker Boehner is not going to refuse.
In what way do you think that your beliefs are similar to Joanne Emerson's and different from Joanne Emerson's?
One of the traits about Joanne Emerson that I think people overlook is the fact that she was listed on the top 10 worst list by the Sierra Club and other environmentalists. I hope to get on that list someday. I look at the perspective that we need to allow our farmers and ranchers to be able to operate their business without the environmentalists and the animal rights activists being involved. Joanne was a strong supporter of the Second Amendment right. She voted against Obamacare. These are things that I agree with. However, I disagree with Joanne on embryonic stem cell research. I disagreed with Joanne on the different bailouts. These are different items. I'm not running to replace Congresswoman Emerson's seat. I'm running to replace the people's seat of the 8th District. And I want to represent the people of the 8th District.
I want to know your mindset after round one, from the leader from round one, slowly, moving up the vote totals, and then you get to 55 votes. Take me through your mindset. I know I kind of spoke with you earlier, but take me through that.
It was a roller coaster. No, it was virtually like 6 elections all in the same day. So it was a roller coaster.
In what ways, working across party lines at the state level, have you learned that are going to help you if you get elected in DC?
You need to cooperate, but not compromise on your core values. You can work with people that you may disagree with 80% of the time, but you can find that 20% somewhere down the road where you can actually accomplish something and work together. This is a conservative district, and I'm going to work with anyone that has conservative values and they want to rein in government, limit the size of government, and just basically get government off of everyone's back. And I'll be happy to work with people to do that.
You mentioned in your acceptance speech that you were going to go to every chicken dinner, every county, every small town. You're the number 2 ranking Republican in House leadership right now. Do you plan to keep your seat in the House and keep your leadership seat while meeting the demands of a campaign that does as you described?
My first priority is to make sure that we send a conservative to Washington, D.C. That's so important for America. That's so important for the 8th Congressional District. I can multitask. In case you haven't met me or know me very well, I can handle a lot at one time, and I don't think it's going to be any problem whatsoever. We're going to have a very effective General Assembly this coming session, and in the same time, we're going to be running the best campaign Southeast Missouri has ever seen.
So do you plan to hold your leadership seat?
I do.
Talk about your campaign. I know you said it just started right now. What's the first step for you?
The first step is to organize a campaign team. That's clearly the first step, and we're actually going to start this evening. I'm going to start making a lot of phone calls. I'm going to go to dinner with my wonderful family and friends first, and we're going to enjoy that, but then we're going to get right to work.
Have you thought about what that campaign team will look like?
Going to be some of the hardest working individuals in all of the state of Missouri.
One more question. Anybody? All right.
Yeah, Representative, one of the biggest issues here in the 8th District is poverty and jobs. What will you do when you get to DC to help fix that problem?
There's several reasons why this district poverty is a big issue. One, government continues to increase regulations, which are breaking down the backs of small businesses and family farmers. And if, for example, right here, we're right next to the Current River. If the National Park Service comes forward with a new management plan that restricts access to the river, or they try to create a wilderness area or close trails, that's only going to eliminate jobs in Shannon County, Carter, Reynolds, Dent, Oregon, Ripley. That's how government continues to chip away at our area, and that's what we're going to have to fight back, with regulations, and that will only create more jobs.
Thanks, guys.